We're back here once again in Schaumburg, Illinois, getting ready to watch the Challenge Series presented by SIMUCUBE. I'm Joe Peak with Jeremy Scott here to bring you the action. Drivers racing on VIR and the Porsche GT3 R machines out on this fantastic track. And Jeremy, we already got to see race one. Now we have race two. But again, same deal, top six trying to get through.
Proud that you made it through there, Mr. Porsche Sprint Series Challenge announcer. But yeah, we got a second race to do. 30 minutes, and a lot can happen with one. Now, we had a great battle for the podium position, and of course, also the transfer spot. We haven't talked too much about the transfer spot, Joe, because sixth place, I think, is just as vital, if not more vital, than first place.
Absolutely. Also, in my defense, I've had to say GT3 Cup cars so many times that my brain kind of shut down for a brief second. They'll be heading off into the qualifying session in just a moment. They're just wrapping up the practice. It's going to be 15 drivers trying to get those top six spots. And again, if you don't automatically advance into the feature race, which will be Sunday afternoon, tomorrow, then you will be able to try and qualify into the feature race through the last chance qualifier, which will be tomorrow morning. But that puts you under a lot of pressure, so you don't really want to be put into that spot. Going to be a flat 30-minute race, no pit stops, nothing to worry about in terms of strategy, just a straight sprint to try and get to the checkered flag first. And it does look like they're just swapping over to that qualifying session now, so we should see cars on track in a second. Based on what we saw before, how important do you think the qualifying positions, that track position, is going to be here in this session?
It is very important because we saw Toth, Ola, and a whole bunch of other drivers who had some difficulty passing. So that's going to be something. I'm actually kind of surprised, Joe, that we had such a difficulty in passing with some of the peak passing zones that you and I both know so well around VIR.
Yeah, that's a good point. The drivers seem to have found themselves with maybe a bit of aero wash, because we know the GT3 cars obviously have quite a bit of downforce. So I wonder if maybe that contributed to it. I also get the sense that maybe it's the fact that the competition is so close. When you're so even on pace, how do you make the difference?
Very tough to make the difference. Of course, we're used to GT3 cars, different manufacturers. Essentially, this is just a spec race because you're having the same GT3 car. So everybody has the same kind of tools you do. Everybody has the same kind of feel that you do. So that's going to be a little bit difficult, and it comes down to driver skill, which, as we all know, is absolutely fantastic to see.
Exactly. So we don't have any times on the board yet. Drivers are just getting their tires up to temperature here. And much like last time, it's rather warm, but not too outrageously so. If you missed the first race, it's about 105 Fahrenheit or 41 Celsius for our metric friends on the track surface itself. But nice 78 degrees Fahrenheit for the virtual fans out in Virginia. Honestly, I feel like I would have loved that earlier this year because it was muggy and hot there.
Yeah. If you go any time between May and now, you are going to be sweating. And, you obviously had the opportunity to have breathable wear. When I went 10, 15 years ago, I didn't have that opportunity, no matter how much I was asking my series coordinator for.
Admittedly, we were a bit spoiled because we were in the commentator's booth, so we had air conditioning. But yeah, every time you stepped outside, it was so ridiculously hot out there. Looks like a few drivers have got the out lap in, but again, these 4 laps, they want the next 3 to try and to be their best. We're looking at times in the low 145s. So
that's nice.
Outlapping, yes. I'm making up verbs now. All right, so we got Caruana on the screen. We're talking about how he is one to watch out for. And he was, I believe, did we see he was second quickest, though, in the warm-up, what I recall? I'll have to double-check the results here.
Yeah, because I think it was Chilcutt who was fastest in...
Oh, no, he took the fastest time in the end. But he was slower than a couple drivers for a good while, which shocked us, for sure.
Yeah, because anybody faster than Caruana is absolutely surprising. Joe, you were saying that before he flew over here this week, he actually was racing.
So he was sim racing, but iRacing had the iRacing Skip Barber Formula Series, or Formula iRacing Series, and he was competing Thursday night, and then suddenly just decided, oh yeah, well no, he didn't just decide, but he just hopped on a plane casually like you do, went across the Atlantic Ocean, arrived here Friday, and was racing and winning again. So yeah. And he actually secured himself a ride with Skip Barber to go through their school to race the F4 car like they have in the sim. So congratulations to Matt. Now he's going to try and add a little bit more hardware, but he is not our quickest amongst the first laps. McAuliffe has it by 1/4 of a second over Caruana.
No surprise there. The Caruana's up at the front, but yeah. Interesting to see up at the front. Avery Hart also there. Tyler King and Tyler Rosen rounding out your top five. Joe, 0.3 of a second separates your top five.
See, it's going to be close once again. Looking to see if there's any surprises amongst these cars. About 1.5 seconds between all 13 that have set a time. It's like Chilcutt and Deering have failed to set a time, unfortunately. So those two must have had an off track at some point on the circuit and have that one deleted. That takes away precious opportunities in a race where the competition is incredibly steep. Let's see whether or not Chilcutt can get one on the board this time by.
Around into Hawkman, sets himself up for the right-hander. Down the front straightaway, a decent couple of first sectors. Let's see what he can do coming down onto the finish straight. Chilcutt looking for his first lap. Officially count across the line, 45.288. 45.288, that puts him right
up to the top for a brief while. Caruana takes it right back. 0.2 quicker than McAuliffe. And then Chilcutt is now 0.3 of a second behind. Floyd Kerr moves himself up into 4th position. It is an absolute slot machine on our timing screen right now as everybody shuffles around on that second lap by. But now all 15 at least have a lap down. So Lelirve is now got himself the last spot. Let's see if he can improve on that. And, well, he does. Bradley Sexton now gets bumped down to 15th as Dorian goes to a 46.5.
And you're watching the team principal for Hyperion Racing, Nathan Deering, through his aces. His fastest time of a 46.294. Enough for 13th overall, 1.3 seconds off the fastest driver. Again, Caruana, no surprise here. 44.9, the time to beat if you want a spot on the pole position. 45.1 if you want to be on the pro.
I want to say that that 44 is quicker than what we saw in the first race qualifying as well. So I feel like this is looking like this is perhaps a slightly faster group of drivers, but we'll see once they all combine in the feature race tomorrow as we continue to watch Deering. This is towards the end of the lap, coming up to the braking at the end of Madison Avenue, trying to spot his turn in as he goes over the hill and back down. Right now, Deering sitting on a 1:46.2 for his best lap. He needs only less than 0.2 of a second to go quicker.
Mellencamp up to the top of the 44.8. 44.848 out of Caruana, so he tried to get up to the top, but got beat by the driver of the 5 cars. We're watching Deering 6-0. Moves on his time, and I believe his position as well.
He did, and then he got pushed back, in fact, almost to last there for a second. Meanwhile, Dorian in the number 18 trying to get out of last on the field. It's so close. He was 27 thousandths off of moving from last place. That's going to be a bit of an ego blow, without a doubt. It isn't over, granted, as they do still have a little bit of time left, and I assume most of them a lap left to go. Caruana in the number 71. He's coming out of Oak Tree currently. Quickest lap at a 44.8 now. Continues to get closer to Mikolev, but it is still about 0.04 of a second separating P1 and P2. Let's see if he's able to snag that pole position, because last time it was a lights to flag victory for our previous winner.
It's going to be a fast lap by Caruana. He's a tenth to 0.2 of a second faster each of the sectors. Look at the bounce coming off a Hawk, and he's going to take a tight entry and a nice wide exit heading down the front straightaway. This could be a great flyer out of the number 71 as he comes across the line. What is his time? 44.848, 44.755. That's good enough for tops.
What is the number 5 doing now as Mikolev just crosses the line? He's not able to improve. He'll have to accept second place in this qualifying. Chilcutt stays in third after he's done with his 4 laps. Meanwhile, Floyd Kerr is going to jump up into 4th position. So there's still a lot of changes happening on this last time through.
King and Hart still on flyers as well. So Caruana, Mikolev, Chilcutt, they are done for their 4 laps. King also logged in his 4th lap. Lenaway up to 11th right now with a 45.724. As we see Bradley Sexton trying to get out of that shotgun start 15th. He's still on course, but that does it for qualifying.
Yep, everybody has taken their 4 laps, and you'll see Matt Caruana on the pole position, just 72 thousandths of a second ahead of Ryan Mikolev. From there, Alex Chilcutt will be starting from the 3rd position as Floyd Kerr is going to be in P4 next to him. Row 3 sees Tyler King on that inside with Avery Hart to the outside, starting from 6th position. Michael Billen will be in P7. Tyler Rosen will be on the outside of row number 4. Then you've got Turner Schroll in 9th. Top 10 going to be rounded out by Christian Wiggins. After that, Corbin Lenaway is starting in 11th today. Hal's Band will be starting from the 12th position, followed by Nathan Deering in 13th. Dorian Liv is going to be starting in 14th position, and 15th will be Bradley Sexton. There is your 15-car field for race number 2. Top 6, again, will decide who automatically goes to the feature race tomorrow. And then everybody from there on down is going to wind up finding themselves heading to the last chance qualifier. So, Jeremy, how much pressure do you feel like they're feeling on the grid right now?
Well, if I'm Caruana, I'm not feeling much pressure at all. However, if I'm, Avery Hart, Michael Billen, or Tyler Rosen, I don't want to race 2 races tomorrow. I want to do 1 race. So it's going to be interesting to see what happens here in these opening couple of stanzas, because that's where we start to see a lot of the positions being made. Now, what will we see later on? I think we might see a different race than we saw race 1, because these drivers are just so much more faster than race 1. No offense to those first racers, but it's going to be a fun race.
Yeah, it does seem like there's just maybe a slight edge, as it looks like they're heading off on the pace lap now. But all that matters is not your speed in comparison to those drivers, at least until tomorrow. It is going to be where you compare to those in this race. Trying to get through the cut line in the heat, get through to the feature. Weaving through the trees of this beautifully lush area of Virginia. This is actually right next to the border of North Carolina. In fact, for one of the ways into the track, you actually have to cross into North Carolina and then come back into Virginia just to get to the track.
Back into North Carolina and back into Virginia. So that's a lot of fun to have to do that. So if you've never been to either one of those states, we can cross some bucket lists as you head to the facility.
Absolutely. And this obviously is a circuit that was a phoenix that rose from the ashes, one of the rare cases where a track was actually shut down and was down for almost a quarter of a century until it was bought, and it was farmland apparently at the time. And they recreated the circuit as it was. They tried to follow it inch by inch. And since it reopening up, it has seen improvements year after year. And now it's a top-class facility, not just in North America, but in the world.
Yeah, one of my favorite videos is watching what the facility used to be before that they came and fixed it back in early 2000, 2001. One of the few success stories of a track going dormant and then coming back. And of course, we see constantly drivers rave about VIR.
All the time. It's a favorite of many, without a doubt. And at least as far as sports car racing goes, it's found itself become quite prominent here in North America with some great series making visits. But now we make a visit in the virtual world, and you can see a little bit of weaving. Drivers trying to scrub the tires to get some heat into them to prepare them and get ready to go. And, you know, it's not just the heat, Jeremy, but it's also what that does to the pressures of the tires, because they're supposed to operate at certain pressures, too.
Oh, you're going to say it's not just the heat, it's the humidity that gets you. But, yes, it is exactly that. So it's going to be interesting to see how long it takes these drivers to get up the temperature, because, as we've been mentioning, this is a newer tire model. Now we're up in, so some of these drivers probably have a little bit more experience than others in getting used to these tires, but there's still a huge learning curve for these GT tires.
Just about done with our formation lap. We've released them for 30 minutes. You missed the first race. Caruana will have control once the pace car pulls off, so you'll see him back off a little bit, and then he gets to decide when he wants to go. However, once the green is thrown by Barney in the sim, then it is basically everybody on their own. So, as the safety car comes in, he does not back them up a whole lot, but we got two beautiful columns of race cars waiting for the call. Still hasn't gone. He's holding them a long time, and now finally Caruana gets on the loud pedal. Green flag is out, and look at that. That actually gave him a good jump. I thought he was going to be vulnerable coming down into turn one, but he spread them out nicely as the rest try to jockey for position. 3 wide coming down into the first turn, and we got a spinner.
By the way, one of those drivers involved as Avery Hart is the car that spun off there in turn number 1. Now, we got a great battle between Millicap and Caruana. It's interesting because we saw Caruana kind of inch Millicap, of course, battle for third here between Chilcutt. Oh, there's a spin!
That's Chilcutt. Oh, all the way to the back. He's going to lose a little bit of time. He could try and catch them back up if he hustles. He didn't hit the wall too hard, but that was Floyd Kerr. We've already seen some penalties handed out by the live stewards. I wonder if that's going to be another one.
Yeah, I think it's going to be another one that we're going to see. We'll take a look at the timing screen on our left. You'll see a black P. That means that they are under black flag to come into the pits, as Kerr holding off King and Schroll there for third spot. Right now, your transfer positions, Corbin Lenaway, but if Kerr has to come in on a penalty, that will give Tyler Rosen a chance to make his position. Lee LeVere up to 10th spot as well, so we got some battling for position as Wiggins and Halsden sitting right there trying to jockey their way up, but right behind them, Chilcutt is about 9 seconds behind, 4 seconds behind this battle going into the roller coaster.
So some fighting here for the back of the field, coming down to the brake zone side by side as Wiggins and Dorian try to sort out 10th place. That's Halsband as well, sitting in 12th.
Oh, and Schultz got a black flag.
Wow. Okay, so I wonder if he was the one that caused the spin into turn 1, because remember, we saw Hart also get sent around at the horseshoe.
Schroll's going to come right back in here, so replay. And yeah, that's one thing you really got to be afraid of right there. Schroll being a bowling ball into the horseshoe.
And then here is the second incident. I talked about how tough it is to go wheel to wheel coming through this section. And you know, I can't blame Kerr for trying to get his nose in there, because he did have a little bit of overlap, but I think that was always going to wind up as an accident.
It really was. Motor Race Control decided that Bill got probably at fault, because you saw how tight he turned in there, coming out going into left hook. So that's always a possibility as well. Watching this battle for the transfer spot as Nathan Geary trying to close in on Tyler Rosen. Of course, behind them, interested spectator, I should say, Joe, is Brent Sexton, 21.
He could still pick this one up. These two start squabbling a little bit too much down into the oak tree once again. Big defensive line, and too early of braking for Rosen. He's going to give up that 6th place to Nathan Deering. Sexton unable to try and capitalize on it. That was a bit strange. I wonder if maybe there was a bit of a slowdown penalty. I don't know why he'd break that early.
That is a very odd place to break, and it didn't look like that really Sexton would do anything that caused, so Rosen would do anything that caused a slowdown penalty. Probably they're still watching on board. Bradley Sexton heading into roller coaster.
So early in this race, we're seeing a lot of shuffling around thanks to both penalties and incidents. But we start to get things settling in, and it does look like we might have a bit more of a fight for that transfer position than what we had last race, where it started to spread out. Nathan Deering has it. Rosen and Sexton both won it. I mean, count Wiggins in there. He's only a quarter of a second behind them.
Yeah, I think it happened here with everybody right there close to one another as we're watching before Rosen go to the inside of Deering through a shoe. Going to set himself up nice for a proper entry into NASCAR bed. So move Rosen into the 6th spot. Does he keep it? Yes, he's going to, as he closes the door on Deering going through 3.
So some brave stuff. Trying to hold your way around the outside of some of these corners is easier said than done, but the 2-4-2 now in the transfer position. Tyler Rosen, can he run away from this group? Look at how many cars are behind him. My goodness, they're stacking up now. Anybody who is in that 6th spot has got to be nervous.
Of course, we talked about we talked about the spec effect of Porsches. And now we have a black flag on Floyd Kerr. So race directors decided that indeed Kerr was at fault for that spin. So now he's going to have to do a pass-through penalty.
I'm not too shocked at that. Like I said, I think it was always going to wind up an accident trying to keep your nose in there down into the corner. Now he's going to pay the price for it. Meanwhile, Caruana versus Mikulev. We wanted a close race between the top 2 before. We got 4. This time, will we wind up with 2 or 4 between these drivers? It's not going to be 4 for now, because this is Floyd Kerr that we saw and just mentioned had a penalty. He's going to head into pit lane most likely and have to serve that, and there he goes. Tyler King gets promoted onto the podium.
Well, of course, Joe, something, because you and I have worked with plenty of race directors, basically the rule of thumb for something like that is you have to be at least a half car length in order to present yourself. Kerr wasn't that, so therefore, he pays the penalty. It now falls further back into the order. Of course, he's going to be coming out in front of Chilcutt. Most likely, no, he's actually going to be coming out behind him. But here is this battle for the lead that we've been watching between Caruana and Mikulev going through into turn number 4. Still close.
So Mikulev keeping him honest at this stage, certainly looking like he is just as fast. And haven't seen any attempts quite yet, but see whether or not they race a little harder than what we saw last time. Because last time the top group tended to kind of chill out and just let the race unfold before they started to go on the attack. Back down to Nathan Deering now in that 6th position. Just about a quarter of a second ahead of Bradley Sexton, but he's got Wiggins, Dorian Lalierve, and Halsban and Billen, I think, as well. Very close behind them, although some of them starting to drop a little bit. So that'll be a bit of a relief if you're Nathan Deering. But he's not done with this. In fact, Tyler Rosen in front of him. That's right. They had the black flags. I was just noticing that promotes Rosen up to 5th. That's even safer for him.
It really is. As now we see Lee Rivera go on the inside down Madison Avenue. We're heading into the roller coaster here shortly at 13, 14, 15 complex. That was a nice little defensive move there by Wiggins as he's trying to hold on to that 8th spot. He still wants to catch up to that transfer spot, which Deering so has right now.
Right now, Wiggins trying to police that 8th spot, knowing that he could maybe move upwards, but he's on the back foot currently. That's going to make it tough to try and chase down Sexton in front of him, who's about a second up the road. We've seen that the draft can allow you to kind of stick with the car ahead since this is such a fast track, so won't want to lose too much more. As there we see King and the rest in their rigs as they all race simultaneously here in the Schaumburg Renaissance Center. But close fighting with about 2/3 of the race left to go here in race number 2.
Well, this past time now you saw purple on the diamond screen. Caruana has opened up a half-second gap, and because of that, he got the fastest lap of the race at 45.2. So Caruana trying to hold off Mikulev for that win here. in this semifinal race.
Caruana holding on to the lead. Track position seeming to be a factor here in this race. And Matt, no doubt, will be aware of that after watching the last one, seeing how this all will play out. Will Mikulev try and fight it? And one of the things that I did think about at the end of last race, because we saw that little battle for the lead all the way to the end. If you're in those top six, how hard do you want to fight and risk losing that top six?
Well, if you're in the top three or top four, I would even say I wouldn't worry too much about, risking too much, because we've seen that gap between fourth and fifth really grow throughout the race. Well, now look at how close you have fifth, I should say sixth, seventh, and eighth. Tyler Rosen, he's gone. He's got a couple second gap between he and Nathan Deering. I'd say a 1.5 second gap right now. So Rosen doesn't have to worry about so much. Caruana with another fast lap, by the way, 45.2. So he's running 10/10 here in this race, almost close to his qualifying time. So one has to wonder if he's just doing qualifying laps at this point. But that's what I was talking about. Now, if you're Deering, you gotta worry a little bit about Sexton. He's about 3/10 of a second back. Because I've got my eye on this battle too. It's about 1 to 2 car lengths as they make their way around NASCAR Bend into the left hook.
And I'll tell you what, if Caruana is running laps close to his qualifying time and Mikulev is not dropping off, those two are absolutely flying right now. That is them going at full tilt. So no wonder they've dropped Tyler King back in third, because he's 4 seconds behind. In the meantime, this fight that we're watching is for that transfer position. It's once again Deering versus Sexton. Bradley wants to try and get up to that P6 because he does not want to have to try and qualify in through that last chance qualifier tomorrow. As they come out of the oak tree, he looks for the good exit, but it seems to me that Deering's got him covered.
Deering has his number coming out of oak tree right now. Sets up to Madison Avenue. Down on the back straightaway. That's about a 2-3 car length gap between the 14 and 21. Again, this is transfer spot. Deering has it. Sexton wants it. As now we watch Corbin Ledaway try to hold off Tyler King for the bottom spot of the podium.
That's Rosen actually just behind him on the attack. This is for fourth between the pair of them, coming down into Hog End Corner.
Okay, so we're not so bad messing that up.
Yes, Lenaway has not got a huge gap between the pair of them. The 16 tries to defend down to the inside, comes back to the racing line. No attempts from Rosen, interestingly. Like we said, if you're in a transfer spot, you might want that extra one, but you don't want to risk the race for it. We haven't seen Lenaway much since we started this race, and he is going to fall back into that fifth place as Rosen has got by in what seemed like a very sudden move.
And Joe, this battle for the transfer spot gets even tighter. As coming out of turn number 2, we saw Deering go just a little bit wide. That almost opened up the gap for Sexton. Sexton just even closer as well. So you've got this battle for fourth and the battle for the transfer spot. Both are a foot close to one another. There it is right there.
Nathan in the number 14, the 21 belonging to Sexton. Both with the same livery on the car. And right behind them is Wiggins, too. Christian is a serious threat in this situation. You cannot do anything that really risks your track position, because Christian is going to be just as hungry to try and pick up a spot. Coming off of Oak Tree Corner. That was a good one from Nathan. He's got himself plenty of space now with that good exit coming off of that run onto Madison Avenue. In the meantime, that's looking a lot closer between Rosen and Lenaway once again. Lenaway may have lost his spot, but Rosen's not going to let him have it easily.
Oh, and that's going to be interesting to see what happens going into Horseshoe. We saw how close Rosen was able to defend over Lenaway there for that fourth spot. There's 16 of Lenaway. About 3 to 4 car lengths is the gap. I don't think it's close enough just yet. But now battle's starting to lessen out a little bit. I say that now as we're the battle for 6th place between Sexton and Deering.
And Deering has to be getting a little bit nervous, because you saw how close Sexton was coming to getting side by side into the Horseshoe. Remember, if he manages to get his foot in the door, we've seen drivers use the switching back and forth of these first few corners to get the job done. He continues to be a real thorn in the side of that number 14 and practically smell the exhaust coming off that diffuser as they pick up speed once again. 140 miles an hour, 150 miles an hour by the time they start to weave back and forth.
It's a tight zone right here as their way out of the south bend sets up. Oh, that's a couple wheels off from Deering. That might compromise the entry into Madison Avenue, and indeed it does, as look at Sexton closing into that car length gap, going down the long back straightaway. Could this be the moment that Sexton's been waiting for?
Gap is about a quarter of a second between them. There we can see from the rear bumper of Nathan Deering as he starts to close in on him. I don't think this is close enough though, but he's going to get awful tight to the back, and by the time they hit the brakes, you can see he is not there. Still, he's starting to see cracks in the armor, Jeremy. He knows that he's getting a bit here to Nathan Deering.
Exactly, and that's what he needs to do. He just needs to kind of nip just a little bit here and there. And here's the thing, Deering, I was talking with him earlier, he said, I spent more time getting the team match, and there goes a possible pass for position with Sexton side by side over Deering. This is for the transfer spot as they work their way into the horseshoe. Deering wants it. Deering has it. Sexton wants it. So far, so good. Deering with the nose out front. He's going to keep the 6th spot for now.
Backs out of it just a little bit. Thought maybe he'd try to keep his nose in coming down here for the left-hander into NASCAR bends. That's where you often see drivers get that finished. But I think that battling did have an effect because Wiggins is now only 0.6 of a second behind, and he's bringing along Hall's band with him. So this is about to be a pretty exciting 4-car fight to decide who gets to go through.
Well, look at Halsman. Yes, he's been lucky to get up to close to the front because the driver's having misfortune, but on merit, he's about a couple tenths of a second behind Wiggins. So I would not leave him out of the equation for the 6th spot.
Absolutely not. All 4 of them are basically in the hunt for this one, but right now it is Deering who still has it as Sexton tries to catch up to him. Last time it was out of Hogpen. He got the good run. Could that mean he could do it again? He starts to close it down, and he's showing himself just a little bit in the mirror, but gets back to the racing line once again. Here's that critical exit at Hogpen here in just a couple corners time. Let's watch from above to see who gets the run.
A little bit of a wiggle there out of Sexton. It does loop him just maybe a half car length, but it gives a chance for Wiggins and Holzman to close in through Hogpen. By the way, got a battle for position here for 3rd place between King and Rosen. Inside goes Rosen. Gonna take it. Let away. He's closer as well.
We're side
battle for 6.
And it looks like Deering will get it back. Sexton briefly ahead for just a split second. Now he's under threat from Wiggins. We'll come back to the battle between King and Rosen. King still sitting in 3rd. Now we check back in, and you can see how much this has checked up those behind him. Deering trying his best to run away. He wants no more part of this.
No, he doesn't. He wants to run away and hide like a rabbit. He's going to try and do it. Of course, we're also watching this battle between Rosen and King. They're nose to tail going through the S's as Lenaway's falling back just a little bit. There they are going through the resort area, and now they set themselves up for the South Bend. Definitely not the fight that I thought we were going to be seeing. That almost came out of nowhere. King looks like he's starting to get some distance, and it's back to the 2 that we saw before, Rosen and Lenaway for the 4th position. So it erupted for a moment. Now it's calmed down once more. Does look like that little bit of a mistake in the attempt from Sexton has allowed Deering to maybe hoof it a bit and try to get himself some breathing room. But Wiggins, who thought he had a chance on Sexton, is instead having to watch his mirrors as Eric almost went for a dive. Just speaking of breathing room, Marijuana Milka have a 10.5 second gap to them and King. We're on board with Holzman as he's really closing in to try and get at least one more spot up. He wants to get around Wiggins. I think if he gets around Wiggins, Sexton is going to be in trouble. Doesn't look like it's enough of a run here for Eric, so
Wiggins instead on the attack. Yeah, he's getting close, 0.2 of a second behind Sexton. And in fact, takes a big look coming down into the corner. Whoa, that is late coming from Halsman. And somehow the two of them don't wreck, but he gave a nice little hello to Christian.
Well, it's in the case of Sexton slowing up a little bit.
Whoa!
So we got a pass for position here as Halsman goes to the inside. He's going to get around Wiggins, who gets around the inside. Contact going into turn number 4 as we still the 4 Wiggins up front. But tell you what, Halsman, he's not done yet. He's flashing the lights, letting them know he's not happy.
Oh my goodness. How in the world did he get beside him, though? That must have been the latest of the late braking coming into NASCAR Bend. Could have been a brilliant move, but just ran out of racetrack. Still, Wiggins putting on a stout defense here, and he's going to have to keep this defense up. Look at how close it is for Eric as he finds himself with an opportunity to get closer to the transfer spots. He knows how important this is, and it seems like he's got the speed.
Well, here's the thing. Eric had a wheel off in the S's, and that slowed him down just a little bit. So now Eric's got to clean off that flag there that he picked up as he's trying to get up one spot. Also, look at Deering. He's trying to hold off Bradley Sexton for that transfer spot. 1 to 2 car lengths separate the two of them to go down Madison Avenue.
Meanwhile, it's not just Deering that was able to run away, but yeah, Sexton at 1.1 seconds ahead. So that's nice for the pair of them because they can at least focus on one another. At least Deering can focus on just trying to continue to push and keep himself at arm's length from Bradley Sexton. We're now down to the final third of this race. There's the recent lap times from the pair of them. Sexton actually dropping off. Oh, no, this last one, he was quicker.
It's a 1/10 of a second faster this past time by, but the battle of the race so far is for that 8th position between Wiggins and Halston. Right now, it's not a transfer position, Joe, but it's more of a, I need to get up to the front, try and get to that transfer spot.
Exactly. So Christian not letting Eric relax at any point on this lap. Excuse me, reverse that. Eric not letting Christian relax at any point on this as they head out of the snake up towards the climbing S's once again. This has been a fantastic battle between everybody. Yes, we saw a little bit of messiness at the start, Jeremy, but I mean the side-by-side battles we've had since then have been respectful but hard and fair.
And look at this! Wiggins goes to the outside. He's going to lose a little bit, and so will Halsman. Both of them making just slight contact with one another going down Madison Avenue. Here comes Wiggins trying to hold off Halsman. You're on board with the number 78. They're side by side down Madison Avenue. Right now, Halsman has the advantage. Gets the nose out front. How long does he keep it? Both of those drivers have each an extra racing light going into their butt. It's Halsman in the 78 who moves up one spot.
Oh, he had to work for that one, trying to go the long way around and again getting a little elbowed out. McAuliffe, in the meantime, just took the fastest lap of the race, so that battle for the lead is not over. So Halsman is now up to 8th. He needs to try and run down Sexton. He's got to make up 1.6 seconds. And speaking of which, Deering and Sexton are going to do their best to try and give him a better shot at it because they're going to slow each other up by going side by side down through the horseshoe. But it is Deering who comes out ahead. He has absolutely flummoxed Sexton this entire race with a great defense.
Yeah, Deering looking pretty good. As right now you're looking out of the back of the number 14 going through NASCAR and heading into the left. Well, just look at you see the dirt, the specks that are on the front nose of that 21. That's how close Sexton is to Deering. Let's see how he sets himself up going into Oak Tree. Wouldn't be surprised to see an attempt to the pass in South Bend. Inadvisable, but it still can be done.
Yeah, and I was wondering if he'd try to stick his nose in here coming up into the climbing S's. Thankfully, he decided not to. All that dirty air going to cost him. Look at how much he's already dropping back from nearly touching the bumper to now needing about 3 car lengths to get to him. This is where he's got to be picture perfect coming off the Oak Tree. And while it does look pretty good, it's not good enough.
It's not good enough. By the way, still watch this battle also between Caruana and Mellencamp as we have another battle for position between Wiggins and Halsman. Wiggins wants that spot back once again going down Madison Avenue, but Halsman has the advantage going into the roller coaster. The left-hander is he going to get it through the right-hander? It looks like that Wiggins is going to hold tight, but no, going to Break just a little bit. The line goes contact going through 15. So Halsman's going to lose one, maybe two positions. No, he's going to lose just one as Chilcutt backs off. Here comes Lee Levere going to the inside. And look at Halsman back up to 8th.
I noticed those two kind of in the background when we were coming off the backstretch there. I wondered if they'd start to get involved, if they fought more, and the answer is a big fat yes. Dorian weaving back and forth, looking for a spot. Same thing with Sexton on Deering, but each and every time he covers him down into turn 1. And this time it looks like it is going to be Wiggins having to defend. We get a little bit of side-by-side. Chilcutt saying, I want some more of this. I want that spot back, Dorian.
Yeah, this is going to be, nice little dive to the inside. Are they going to make it through? One goes sliding off. That's going to Wiggins. He's going to lose 2 spots, Joe, as a little, I wouldn't say a dive bomb attempt. I would just say a little bit aggressive parking there in NASCAR.
Yeah, the flight simulator's over there, so the dive bombs need to be saved for elsewhere. In the meantime, he does have the position. It was aggressive, but he got it done. I'm sure the other drivers will remember that one for later, no doubt. Meanwhile, back to the battle for 6th place. The most important position in this race for all these drivers, especially for Bradley Sexton. We check in on Dorian, still close behind on Halsman, who has found himself, that's Chilcutt on Dorian, rather. So this is the battle for 9th.
This battle here for 8th, 9th position has been good. Here comes Sexton to the inside of Deering, side by side, going down Madison Avenue. Sexton has the advantage through one corner, but Deering, he's going to shut the door on him through turn number 15. And now we take a look at this battle. A little bit of contact there with Chilcutt trying to hold off Billion.
Where did Michael come from? These cars have been battling so much that they've been caught by the back of the field. This has been a wild finish to this race, but it is being led by Christian Wiggins right now in that orange car. As we check back in on Dorian once again, Billen managed to get by, squeezing him down to the inside. It's a curved front straightaway, so he's got to give him a little bit of space. The 18's got the inside line coming down into the horseshoe. Can he get the job done? No, hanging tough. Michael Billen round the outside. No, now he has to give way.
Billen coming up through the back of that number 8. Trying to get into that top 10 with Lee Levere and Chilcutt there ahead of them. Of course, ahead of them, too, is this battle between Halsman and Wiggins.
Jeremy, that's Boyd Kerr. He's caught them after the penalty. How did he get back into this thing? That's amazing. They've been fighting so much. A driver who's had a drive-through penalty is now in the hunt.
That is a good eyes. We still have this battle for the 6th spot between Deering and Sexton. I've got to say this, if I'm Bradley Sexton, I'm confused on why I can't make a move around Nathan Deering, especially somebody who kind of stepped back a little bit from racing to run a race team. This is absolutely a fantastic defense by Deering.
Can't believe the run that he's had in this race. Just such incredible defending. And looks like Floyd is going to at least get one more. This is why you never give up. You just don't know what's going to happen in a race. So you got to stick with it just in case the unthinkable happens. And there's one position, Floyd up to 12th.
All you can do is just laugh at this point with Kerr running 45.6s, 45.7. So he's able to capitalize on these drivers ahead of him or just battling each other. Joe, we've got about 2 laps to go in this race, so it is still anybody's race as Deering trying to hold off Sexton once again, taking that defensive inside line, choking off any possible opportunity that Sexton has to pass him. Behind them, Halsman and Wiggins still nose the tail. Oh, by the way, it's Chilcutt and Wiggins, as Wiggins has fallen back even further.
What happened to Caruana? He gave away the lead. Mikulev just got by. Let's see if maybe he got a slowdown penalty or if maybe just had an oopsie coming off the corner. And there was a little bit of a slide, but it didn't look like anything too bad. So, yeah, okay. Yeah, he went off
Deering's
course.
fallen off. Deering's had an issue as he's fallen from 6 all the way over to 13. Let's watch this replay.
Oh, my goodness. After this whole race. Wow.
Oh, slide off by Deering, as now that gives Sexton and Halsman a chance to race for that transfer spot.
Patience is a virtue. If you are Bradley Sexton, he is now firmly in the transfer position. Halsband is about 1.8 seconds back. He's sitting pretty. This is Christian Wiggins, who is trying to take that 7th spot from Halsband here with just a few laps left to go. So close to making contact, the pair of them. Hopefully they'll be able to make it through the roller coaster, chopping down and across with inches to spare. He really cut that one close.
No, he really did. And thankfully, it did not end in tears, which normally it does end in tears for something like that. But here comes the battle for 3rd place as Rosen tries to look to the inside of King around the horseshoe. Does not get it, almost makes contact there, but Rosen running lap times faster. Here's Floyd Kerr trying to get inside the top 10 around the outside of Lillevere. He's going to use cars as a pick, and he's going to lose a little bit of position there around the outside. A very ill-advised move, but I've got to say this, Joe, Caruana's not out of it yet.
No, certainly not. He's only 0.3 of a second behind. In fact, we saw how quick he was in the Formula I Racing Series as well. So you know that he's willing to fight for it, and he can be very sneaky, especially with a slipstream. There's a little bit of tweaking from Dorian, so which is kind of funny since Dorian had quite the dive bomb before himself. In the meantime, whoop, look at them kick up the dirt coming off of South Bend as Rosen and King are going at a hammer and tongs.
Now Madison Avenue watching the time. I believe they will see if they've not seen the white flag yet, they will see it this time. It's going to be a race to the timer as Caruana trying to see what he can do to get around Ryan Milikeff. Heading down Hawk Pen, Joe, I think they may just eke this one out.
Yep, they should get one more lap with just a second or so to spare here. As we check back in, Dorian's still in a fight. Oh, and a late move of defense coming up into the corner. Holds the inside of the first one, but that means he gives up the second apex, and that is the longer corner. Job's not done, though. They'll continue to bang doors and actually shove some off into the grass.
And, Joe, we have a great battle for the lead here going into NASCAR. Caruana with a couple of taps on Milikeff going into the left hook now. Nose to tail as the 5 trying to hold off the 71. Toe-to-toe for the win here in the semifinal number 2.
The left with the advantage now. We didn't see any changes for the lead in the last race, but he's changed that in this one. The number 5 just ahead by the narrowest of margins. Caruana, can he take it back with just a couple more opportunities to go? Only one of them a realistic opportunity, if we're honest. They'll head out of South Bend. This is one of the first heavy braking zones. Not close enough. Now it's up into the oak tree. What's it going to look like out of here, Jeremy?
Oh, it's close. It's about a quarter car length separating the two of them. Mikulev getting a better exit, but that still gives Caruana a chance to draft off down Madison Avenue. Mikulev about keeping the same distance as he can. Does Caruana make a last-minute move? He's going to be late on the brakes going into the roller coaster, but Joe, I don't think that's going to be enough.
He covers the inside, tries for a cutback, but look at that. Parks it on the apex. Mikulev is wise to it. Caruana could go for that one more move coming out of Hogpen if he has enough of an exit. But again, it is going to be a tough one to execute on. He does have a little bit of a slipstream, but it doesn't look like it is close enough. Brian Mikulev has stolen this out from under Caruana and takes the victory in race number 2.
What a fantastic battle for the lead. Of course, we still have the battle for 6th place, but that is about a second gap there. But Mikulev, wow, 1/10 of a second over Matt Caruana.
I did not expect someone to use Matt's own tricks back on him and manage to overtake. It looks like Jeremy's going to head over and chat with our winner here in a second, as Wiggins and Kerr are going to finish nose to tail, separated by 0.07 of a second. Floyd still getting back to the top 10 and almost getting 9th place is an amazing run. So just about all of our cars across here. Let's go through our results. Mikulev, your winner, as Matt Caruana, flying over from the UK, won't be able to take another victory this weekend, at least not yet. He'll finish P2 and he will transfer through. Tyler Rosen will be 3rd. Tyler King will be 4th, and Corbin Lenaway P5. Bradley Sexton, your last driver to transfer through into the feature. Everybody else from here on down is going to the last chance qualifier tomorrow. Eric Hallsman in 7th, Alex Chilcutt in 8th, Christian Wiggins in 9th, and Floyd Kerr finishing in 10th today. Dorian Lever is going to be in 11th, as Michael Billen is going to be 12th, and it's Nathan Deering 13th, Turner Schroll in 14th, and Avery Hart in 15th today. Avery, our only DNF in this race. So we're waiting until they park the cars here, as the drivers all doing their duty and driving them back to pit lane, being nice and polite and making sure that we keep this realistic instead of just wrecking it on the track. So we got quite a race here for race number 2. The first one was exciting, but I'd say that was even more intense for so many battles. It looks like Jeremy has now caught up with him.
Well, last couple of laps, you took the lead. Let's talk about that pass for the win.
It's all because he got a slow down, really. Dirty air was a bit bad. My tyres were gone. I think it's because of the dirty air. I was pushing too hard and scrubbing the fronts, and it killed him. But other than that, it was an alright race. It was good. The pack behind us were battling, which helped us break away. But other than that, it was quite a chill race, yeah.
So nonetheless, now you go into tomorrow with a semifinal win. What does that do to you going towards tomorrow afternoon?
A lot of pressure. Puts you under the spotlight, really. But I'm just going to do what I can. Obviously, there's very fast drivers here, so I can only do what I can. So we'll see how it goes. It's not really the best track for overtaking, so I think it's whoever gets the best quali lap and the best turn one is going to come out on top. So we'll see how it goes.
Congratulations, race 2 semifinal winner Ryan Mikulev.
Let's give it up for the driver, the number 5. Awesome job today. Really earned that one. So we're done with the challenge series presented by SIMUCUBE for today, Jeremy. But like we said, we have to come back tomorrow for 2 more races. I mean, how do we top that?
I don't know how we top that because, quite frankly, Joe, it's going to be quite interesting to see how these drivers handle, because I do believe that we do have a new track tomorrow as well.
Interesting. Okay. Well, we'll find out more about that tomorrow. Make sure and tune in for the challenge series presented by SIMUCUBE here at the Renaissance Schaumburg Center in Chicago, Illinois. I'm Joe Peak with Jeremy Scott. Race clean, race hard. We'll see you on the track.